Hey there, chess enthusiasts and aspiring grandmasters. ChessChuck here, and I'm ready to unveil the legendary checkmate that'll leave your opponents scratching their heads and wondering what just happened. So, grab your chessboard and let's get started. The setup begins with a typical opening sequence. White kicks off with e4, and black counters with e5. White then develops the knight to f3, attacking the e5 pawn. Black answers by placing the knight on c6. White continues by positioning the bishop on c4, focusing on the f7 square. Black responds with the pawn move d6 to secure the center. Here's where things get interesting. White brings out the knight from the queen's side, and black makes a seemingly harmless move that pins white's knight on the king's side. White then pushes the bishop back, but black continues to hold the pin. And here's where black falls into the trap. White triggers the trap by moving the knight to e5 and capturing black pawn, apparently sacrificing the queen. At first glance, this move looks like a blunder, but there's a hidden tactic behind it. White captures the pawn on f7 with the bishop, delivering check. Black's king is forced to move, but it's too late. White has a devastating follow-up with knight to d5, checkmate, and the game is over. Have you ever seen such a beautiful mate with bishops and knights so early in the game? Absolutely incredible. Here is another example of the most aggressive and popular openings in chess, the fried liver attack. The fried liver attack begins with the following moves: e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4. This is the Italian game, where white aims to quickly develop pieces and control the center. After bishop moves to c4, black typically responds with the knight move to f6, attacking the e4 pawn. Now white plays knight g5, immediately targeting the f7 pawn, which is the weakest point in black's position at this stage and only protected by the king. The most logical way for black to protect the f7 pawn is to play pawn to d5 to interfere with the white bishop. Trading pawns on d5 is risky. Instead, the best move for black is to play knight to a5, but many players at the club level might miss this, falling right into the trap. Following a pawn trade on d5, white strategically sacrifices the knight on f7 to make the black king wander around in the center of the board without much protection. When the black king captures the knight, white has a tremendous check with the queen, simultaneously attacking the king and the knight. The only way to defend both is by moving the king up to e6, which looks insane to have your king exposed so early in the game. White then develops the knight on c3 to attack the pinned knight on d5. Here black must play knight to b4 or e7 to defend the knight. But if black instead decides to develop the bishop to c5, white quickly captures the knight with the bishop, continues attacking the king with a knight move to b5, and finally announces checkmate by playing queen to f7, a whirlwind attack on the king, and a very pretty checkmate in the center of the board. There is an interesting way for black to combat the fried liver attack with a tricky counterattack. The game begins with the following sequence: e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. After white develops the bishop on the third move, black makes a surprising jump with the knight to d4, which looks crazy as it gives up the e5 pawn, exposes the f7 pawn, and moves the knight for a second time before developing any other key pieces. What's even more shocking is that after the pawn capture, black's queen jumps out to g5, simultaneously attacking the white knight on e5 and the g2 pawn, and giving white the opportunity to capture the f7 pawn. Capturing the f7 pawn with the bishop was the best option for white. However, it was quite tempting to capture it with a knight, and to fork the queen and the rook. Black leaves the rook for the knight, and captures the g2 pawn with the queen, attacking the white rook. When the rook moves to f1, black captures the e4 pawn with the queen, announcing a check to the poor open king. Instead of giving up the queen, white decides to slide the bishop back to e2 to protect the king, and immediately gets checkmated with the brilliant move knight to f3. The fried liver counterattack is about turning white's early aggression into an opportunity for black. By disrupting white's plans, creating immediate threats, and leveraging tactical play, black aims to achieve a favorable or equal position while neutralizing the attack. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments below. See you next time.